All right, welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning, episode 304. Back on the topic of the NFL. This morning, the 20th of January, Philip Rivers announces he's retiring. I think, what is he, 38, 39?
He's up there.
He's up there.
39 sounds about right.
It's a reasonable decision. But before we get into that, we're going to be discussing today whether or not he's a Hall of Famer. Before we get into that, question of the day. Philip Rivers was part of the 2004 draft class, originally drafted by what team, and then traded on draft day. Again, what team was Philip Rivers originally drafted by? Answer revealed at the end of the video. But Jay, is this a guy we can expect to make it the Hall of Fame or no?
I'm sorry, Chargers fans and temporarily Colts fans who had him for 1 year. I do not believe Philip Rivers is a Hall of Famer quarterback now. I'm not going to try and knock the guy. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. It's pretty impressive to have a long career and stay a starter. A lot of guys we see either go on to win Super Bowls or go on to win big playoff games, or they go on to be backups. Really, there's not many guys that can really be in the middle like Philip, where he has playoff appearances, doesn't have deep playoff appearances, yet he's always a starter and he's not a tanking guy. So he does have I kind of want to say odd career, because it is very rare you see a guy that doesn't make your team the next level, yet you don't bench him by any means. So he does have talent and skill, and he's clearly, like I just said, he's been a starter for X amount of years. He has talent, but for me, Hall of Fame is a special class where you have to be one of the all-time greats. Yes, Philip is great, but is he an all-time great? And in my opinion, he is not. There's currently 26 quarterbacks in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and only 5 of them do not have a Super Bowl ring. Of those 5, you got Frank Tarkenton, who has 3 Super Bowl appearances. Philip has 0. Dan Marino, who has 1 Super Bowl appearance. Philip has 0. And really, Dan Marino is considered the greatest player of all time to not have a Super Bowl ring in my eyes and a lot of other people's eyes. And then Jim Kelly, we know him, 4 Super Bowl appearances and losses in a row. Philip has 0. Dan Fouts, old Chargers quarterback, doesn't have a Super Bowl appearance but has an MVP. Philip does not. And then Warren Moon, the 5th quarterback in the Hall of Fame without a Super Bowl ring. In my opinion, you can even make an argument that he should not be in the Hall of Fame. So really, I don't want to say him and Philip are comparables, but neither of them have an MVP, neither of them have Super Bowl appearances, neither of them have an outstanding stats. You can make an argument for both not being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and that's just an extra factor why I don't think he should make it in. Of the 5 guys that don't have Super Bowl rings, he doesn't really even compare to them, and except the one guy who shouldn't arguably be in the Super Bowl, except the one guy who shouldn't arguably be in the Hall of Fame himself. So for that reason, I definitely don't think he should make it, just comparing him to the other players in there. And really, his comparable guy that he was drafted around is Eli Manning and Big Ben. Big Ben has 2 Super Bowl rings. He's going to be a lock-in for the Hall of Fame. And then Eli Manning, he has 2 Super Bowl rings. And there's a lot of debate of whether or not he should make the Hall of Fame. Yes, I think he should, but there is speculation of whether or not Eli Manning will. And to me, when Eli Manning has 2 rings and Philip has none, that's going to be a hard case to say, well, Eli barely got in. How can Philip get in at all? So for that reason, definitely don't think he can make it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with any of those points. I grew up watching Philip Rivers, and just the weird way he throws, I really liked him. So yeah. I really, really, really want to say yes, but I just don't think there's enough there that he has in his career to put him in the Hall of Fame. My main points for possibilities that just make him stand out, I mean, a 17-year career is pretty unheard of, but Drew Brees retiring this year likely had a 20-year career. Tom Brady going on 21, I think.
Yeah.
So it's not the longest career, but 17 is definitely a respectable length of time to be a quarterback, a starting quarterback. Well, not starting those whole time, but a quarterback in the National Football League. He does have 200-ish, I think it's 40, consecutive starts. That's pretty impressive. That's up there on second or third all time. Just the problem is he doesn't have, as Jay already went in depth, he doesn't have even a Super Bowl appearance. Farthest he ever made it was, I think, the 2007 AFC Championship where...
Towards ACL.
Towards ACL, yes, thank you.
Yeah, there is speculation of, like, who knows, what if, with that game. Yes, that's a possibility, but since it didn't happen...
Yeah, what ifs don't put you in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
7 playoff appearances, 7 different seasons in the playoffs, 5-7 career record. Under 500 in the playoffs. Just all this stuff adding up. Philip isn't great. He was solid for 17 years. Solid for 17 years, in my opinion, gets you remembered. Doesn't put you in the Hall of Fame. Career stats, 421 touchdowns to 209 interceptions. Again, not fantastic. Solid. So, again, compared to guys in his class with Ben and Eli, both 2 Super Bowl championships. Yeah. Eli beat the Patriots twice. That alone should be a trip to the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. So I think I'm ultimately going to have to go with no. Philip doesn't have anything, no MVPs, no Super Bowl appearances, just 17 solid years in the league. We'll give him credit for making a playoff appearance first year in Indianapolis. That is a division the Texans have won, 7 out of the last 10 years. Obviously terrible this year, but the Colts won that, or Colts made the playoffs, so we've got to give him respect for that. But I think, no, Phillip's not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and really, the numbers Phillip put up are respectable, as in touchdowns and passing yards. They are notable numbers for sure, but they're really, I want to say, he has benefited from the amount of talent around him. I mean, he's putting up these numbers with Hall of Famer players he's throwing to and passing to and handing off to. He's not going to be like how Joe Burrow is, where he's going to have to create a Hall of Fame place throwing to players like me and Carson. Joe Burrow's screwed forever. Phillip Rivers, he has talent. He had Vincent Jackson, Antonio Gates, LaDainian Tomlinson. Antonio Gates, arguably top 5 tight end of all time. LaDainian Tomlinson, arguably top 5 running back of all time. Vincent Jackson, all-pro receiver talent. I mean, he is throwing to all kinds of players that can really elevate his game and make him look a lot better. And even with those type of players, he really could never get to the next level. And like I said, yes, he did make the 2007 AFC Championship, and maybe that could have changed his entire legacy if he didn't tear his ACL, if he won the game, if he went on to win the Super Bowl. However, there is no what ifs. It did not happen. And then even though that was a long time ago, looking at somewhat recent day in the past few years, he's had Keenan Allen, old Antonio Gates, he's had Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry. The talent is there that Phillip has had around him. Then on the defense, just a few years ago when they went 13-3 or 12-4 and faced rookie Lamar Jackson in the wild card round, yes, they beat them and had an amazing defense, especially in a healthy Derwin James, Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram, and we thought maybe this is a year. Phillip still has 2 to 3 good ones left in him. Maybe he can make a push this time. He just beat the electric Lamar Jackson rookie in his rookie season. Now we're going on to New England. Yes, it's going to be a tough game, but I think we could compete. We have the offense and we have the defense. It's not so reliant on Phillip. We have a defense that he can fall back on, and yet it was still an awful blowout. He wasn't even in contention. Phillip didn't do great, and he just doesn't have that clutch gene in him, and I don't know a Hall of Fame player that doesn't. I'm not saying you got to be a NFL quarterback that throws 450 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, win all your game-winning drives. But Phillip, he doesn't seem to have a lot of game-winning drives that are meaningful when it matters the most, and therefore I don't think that's Hall of Fame talent.
So, yeah, for sheer just lack of accomplishments in his career, I think we're going to have to go with Phillip is not going to be a Hall of Famer. However, I still think he has had a respectable career for sure and deserves some recognition for it.
Yeah, and also the side note is the odds of getting the Hall of Fame definitely depends on the Hall of Fame class you enter with, and him retiring at the same time as Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, possibly Frank Gore, possibly Adrian Peterson. Only so many guys get into the Hall of Fame, and Phillip Rivers entering with a tough Hall of Fame class to compete with. And I don't
Tom
think
Brady could win the Super Bowl this year and be out.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's
so anything's possible. What if Big Ben says I'm done too?
Yeah.
Anything is really possible at this point, and he's in a tough class to kind of compete with and say he's better than them and deserves to be in Hall of Fame over them. Therefore, I think we both agree he's not going to make it. He doesn't deserve it.
Yep, tough luck for Phillip, but I'm going to say no. That's it for the video. Question of the day. The New York Giants selected Phillip Rivers and then prompted to trade with the San Diego Chargers, who drafted Eli Manning. Yes. That's how each of those players ended up there. So Phillip Rivers originally drafted by the New York Giants. That's the answer to the question of the day. And again, thanks for watching, guys. 2 in the morning.